guys, so today we're going to be making a simple flower crown for a little girl. So in order to do this you only need a few things, and don't worry if you're not the most craftiest, we're going to go by it through step by step. So the main two things that you'll need is obviously your flowers and your greenery, as well as what's known as florist wire. So florist wire comes in different thicknesses, so you can use thin florist wire and just put a few strands and twist them together, which is what we'll be doing today. Or you can use a thicker one and you won't have to worry about the first step. So this is what our flower crown will look like in the end. So we'll go through it step by step. So the first thing we're going to do is, we're going to use three thin strands of our florist wire. So what you want to do to twist them together is line up the ends and make sure that you just twist opposite directions. So then an easy way to twist the rest of the wire is to open it up almost like you have three strands of the little girl's braid. And careful, it will get twisted along the way, so just make sure that you keep an eye on it. So all you're going to do is twist. So twist it together and go along, and don't worry if some parts untwist because you can fix that up in the end before you make it into a crown. So you want to kind of measure on the girl's head to get an idea of how big your crown will be. You don't want your crown to sit across the forehead, but more so on top of the head. And you can use an Alice band if you prefer. Today we'll just be using florist wire. So I'm just going to finish it up here quickly. And as you can see, some pieces may be loose. You can just go right in and just twist those. And then it'll be a long strand. Make sure you twist the ends as well. Then you're going to bring it into a circle and twist the two ends together so that they meet. And don't worry if it bends out of shape, you can bend it back into the circular shape that you'd like. So we're left with a round wire, which will be our crown. So the first thing you want to start off with is your greenery. So we suggest that you cut up your flowers and greenery beforehand, so it's a lot easier than sitting and having to cut each individual piece as you go along. So we are using different types of greenery and flowers today. So we're using penny gum, we're using two different types of fynbos, and we're using what's known as pink wax flowers. So we'll start with our greenery. So your strands will probably be longer than this, but just to demonstrate how you cut them, you don't want them to be too short. So find a nice piece that the stalk isn't too thick, because you kind of want to twist it around so you can cover the wire. So simply find where you'd like to cut off. So this looks about right, and snap. You kind of want to leave a bit of the stalk so that you can put the what's known as florist tape around to secure it. So when it comes to securing, to start off you want to find where you join the two ends, and you want to put your piece of penny gum at that starting point. Don't worry if it kind of bends away from the wire, because we can twist it around later after we've secured it with the florist tape. So you get different types of florist tape. You get a more paper-like one and you get a rubbery stretchy one. We find that the rubbery stretchy one works better as it sticks it together a lot easier than the paper one. So simply pull the tape, and what's nice about this is it has a stretch feature. So when you stretch it a little bit, it almost activates the stickiness. So find where you'd like to place your penny gum. Put your piece of tape around, and don't worry if it shifts, you can always fix it as you go along, and twist, and you can simply tear it off. Don't worry about that. Twist it around, make sure it's tight, and there's your first piece. Now you may think, oh no, but I messed up, it's bending from the side. Don't worry about that, because you can twist it around, and if it untwists as you go along and add the other flowers, then you'll be able to adjust it and cover up your mistakes. So there's your first piece. So then what you want to do is grab your second piece of penny gum, grab your tape once more, make sure it's open, And now you kind of want to overlap where your last piece of tape was and almost make it look like a continuous strand. And make sure that when you do your penny gum that you do it all in one direction. So the leaves all face out or all face in. You don't want to mix it up or else it won't look natural. So you simply take your florist tape, hold it against the wire once more, secure it around the wire. Don't worry if it slips out, that happens to the best of us. Wrap it around at least once. And then tear off a piece longer so you can continue wrapping and securing it. You can even squeeze it a little bit to help you secure, so don't worry about that. Inevitably you want to cover the wire so you don't see the wire, because we don't have wires growing in nature. So once it's nice and secure, see, sometimes even when you're making a tutorial it pops out. So just pop it right back in there. Now it's nice and secure. So then simply twist it around to cover the other green wire and to kind of link it up with the previous piece. So we're not going to sit you all day and show you each individual thing. So beforehand, we almost made a completely fold one and one more piece of penny gum to attach to that, just to show you how to end it off and how we'll start to add our other flowers. So once again, find which direction it's going in. I'm going to flip it over just to make it easier for myself. Hold your stalk nice and tight. Wrap your piece of florist tape around. Make sure it's nice and secure. Give it a little squeeze. Tear. And wrap it, or continue to wrap it around the wire. Give it another squeeze. You can even twist it around a little bit like I was explaining earlier. And you might even have to fan out some of your leaves or maneuver something so it looks right. It's up to you. You're the creative making the flower crown. So once you've done that, you're going to want to add your thinner, smaller, more fragile looking fynbos. So you kind of want to gather almost strands, or if you gather a group that has like separate strands, so that you can wrap it around more easily and make it look more natural or stick out as you please. So I'm going to show you one or two pieces and then I will show you the next step. So with this, you don't want to cover your penny gum completely, or else you're going to completely lose it and you're not going to actually see the penny gum. So take again your florist tape, find a spot that looks good. Remember, there's no specific instructions where it has to be 1 centimeter away from the penny gum or 1 centimeter away from each other. However you decide it's supposed to look is how it's supposed to look. So you are the boss, you're in charge, let your creative juices flow. So once again, secure the fynbos, then make sure you fan out the leaves. See, either you can leave it to stick out, it really depends on what style you're going for, but you can twist it and maneuver it in between the penny gum that you've placed earlier. So as you can see, it's now sticking out, but it's also together. So it covers the wire and it incorporates it together. So once you do that, it should look like this once you've gone completely around. As I mentioned earlier, there's spaces for the penny gum as well as for the fynbos to show. So we're coming to our last step now, the wax flowers and the other fynbos. Now what's different about these is we're going to group these together and then we're going to put it around the crown. So what you do is you grab a piece off your stalk, as we've done earlier, and you kind of want to either find a lot more flowers with less of the fynbos or vice versa. You don't want to have too little of the flowers and too little of the fynbos together, or too much of one and too much of the other together, or else it's going to look crowded and not work very well. So find a piece that you like. This one looks good. Now since there's a lot of flowers, I'm going to try and find a piece that has less fynbos like this. So you can also intertwine those two together like so and hold it firmly. So you kind of want to place it in between where you place the feinborst. Remember, you can always add extra pieces at the end till you're happy with it. So I think I'm going to place this right over here. And what might be easier for you to do instead of using florist tape for this bit is to actually take some more of your florist wire and cut it, a little tiny piece. So you have a small piece so that you can wrap it around. So you hold it in place, make sure you're not squishing or breaking any of the leaves. It may take a few tries. So make sure you find the wire, hold it fast together, twist your wire around. Can be a little bit tricky, but that's okay. You'll get the hang of it the more you do it. And then you have your flowers. But now you might think, oh no, but it doesn't look like it's all natural together. That's okay. You can also twist certain areas to match the desired look you'd like. So if you want to move the feinborst around, move your flowers so that it all looks natural. It may spring out of place, but don't worry. It's not too hard to fix. You can even take the penny gum leaves and you can maneuver it around so that it looks natural. So once you do all the flowers around, it'll look like our final product. So there's a few flowers there, as you can see, the final step, and there's your flower crown. And if you ever need to make it longer, let's say the florist wire you got was too short and your daughter's head is a little bit bigger than the rest, then that's okay. You can take your different pieces of florist wire and you can simply twist the ends together. You can do this a few strands at a time, like I said, depending on the thickness, and bend it into shape, and it is even bigger than the first one. Now obviously this is quite big, but as you go along you can cut to measure exactly however you need it and resort it.